What is happening at this moment in West Asia? Israel has continued with its relentless bombardment of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And according to reports that have just come in the last half an hour, 1 hour, Israel has again struck the Jabalia refugee camp, the biggest refugee camp in the Gaza Strip, resulting in a number of fatalities. And also, according to reports that are coming in, it appears that this conflict could now spill beyond the frontiers of the Gaza Strip. Now, in the last 12 odd hours, for the very first time since this conflict began, the Rafah border crossing has reportedly opened. It had opened for a very brief period of time for the purpose of evacuation of some of those who are acutely wounded. Now, the very first foreign officials have also been allowed to evacuate from the Gaza Strip from Egypt. And according to reports, Qatar has had an important role to play in the mediation efforts between Egypt, Israel and Hamas, in coordination with the Americans, who are also playing a pretty big role militarily in this conflict. Many of those who are critically injured and because of the failing medical health facilities in the Gaza Strip are now being taken out and being taken to hospitals in Egypt. Israel has now confirmed that 9 of its soldiers who had been sent on this ground invasion of the Gaza Strip have been killed in combat, and this happened during their attack on Tuesday. And this takes the total of the Israeli soldiers who've been killed since the 7th of October to 326. Now, both Hamas and Israel, remember, have engaged in some pitched battles within the Gaza Strip because the Israeli tanks are lurking within the Gaza Strip. This is what is happening. Now, Israel says that its troops have in fact tried to hit anti-tank missile launches and also other observation posts. They've seized many guns and explosives and have killed dozens of Hamas fighters. Now, it has also hit an estimated 11,000 targets within the Gaza Strip. This is what the Israelis are claiming, 11,000 targets, resulting in huge number of Palestinian civilians getting killed in the Gaza Strip. Now, Israel has also attacked a densely populated refugee camp in northern Gaza. This is, of course, the Jabalia refugee camp. It was hit yesterday, resulting in dozens of fatalities. And the information that has come in is that the Jabalia refugee camp has been hit again just in the last half an hour to 45 minutes. According to Gaza's health ministry, at least about 50 Palestinians had been killed yesterday in the Israeli bombings that were carried out. And again, the death toll of what has happened in the last 45 odd minutes has not come through yet. But it is again said to be a massive bombing campaign that Israel has resorted to in the Jabalia refugee camp, which is one of the most densely populated neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip. Now, Israel claims that it has secured a central Hamas stronghold in the refugee camp airstrike. The IDF announced that its fighter jets eliminated the commander of Hamas's central Jabalia battalion, who they say was one of the leaders who was responsible for the deadly terror attack that took place on the 7th of October, the deadly incursion that took place on the 7th of October. Let's also now give you some updates in terms of what is happening on the hostage situation. Now, the military wing of Hamas has said that the group plans to release some of the non-Israeli hostages that they have in their custody in the coming days. In a video statement, the group has announced that the release has been arranged through mediation efforts of some nations, though these nations have not been named. Hamas has also not revealed as to how many hostages would be freed, but it has said that the group no longer has the desire or the need to keep these foreign nationals in its custody. Meanwhile, the Qatari Prime Minister has told the visiting Thai Foreign Minister that efforts are presently underway to secure the release of the hostages. However, after the Israeli strike on the Jabalia refugee camp, Qatar has warned that this indiscriminate aggression by the Israelis can actually undermine the efforts to secure the release of hostages. Now, on the other hand, this war appears to be expanding beyond the frontiers of Gaza. Tensions have been on the rise along with Israeli border with Lebanon since the war began, as the fighting continues with Hezbollah. On Tuesday, Lebanon has accused Israel of using white phosphorus to carry out attacks, where it has said that it would now file a complaint with the United Nations against this indiscriminate use of white phosphorus. And also Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have said that they have staged a few attacks on Israel. They quote-unquote have launched some ballistic missiles and also a number of armed aircraft, effectively referring to drones. Now, the Houthi rebels have pledged more attacks against Israel if its war on the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza continues. Now, remember, this war and this campaign of relentless bombing and this crippling blockade that Israel has imposed on the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip has resulted in a humanitarian disaster within the Gaza territory. 2.3 million Palestinian civilians continue to remain without any access to food, water, electricity. And according to information that has just come in the last 1 odd hour, there's been a complete communications blackout again. This has been something that's been confirmed by the Palestinian telecommunications. Now, there is some bit of aid which is beginning to trickle into the Gaza Strip. It's almost token aid that is being talked about. It is 66 trucks is what the White House has confirmed is what has now moved in terms of humanitarian assistance in the last 24 hours. And the Americans claim that a few dozen more of these trucks could, of course, roll into the Gaza Strip. The United States has acknowledged that the level of truck and delivery so far is just a fraction of what is needed in the Gaza Strip. The U.S. officials have said that they would like to reach up to 100 trucks a day. Meanwhile, the American President Joe Biden spoke with Jordan's King Abdullah, and both nations have agreed that it is critical to ensure that the Palestinians are not forcibly displaced out of Gaza. Remember, there's this Israeli concept paper which very clearly delineates that the Palestinians will be pushed out of the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Desert in Egypt. And now Jordans and the Americans apparently have agreed that this cannot happen. Now, the American Secretary of State Anthony Blinken spoke with the Israeli president via phone and reiterated the American support for Israel's right to defend itself. The Blinken will also begin another tour of West Asia amidst this war, and he's expected to carry out another tour of shuttle diplomacy by Friday. He'll visit Israel and will make other stops in the region as well. Now, in other updates, Israel has slammed Bolivia's decision. Remember, Bolivia happens to be the first country in the world. It has accused Israel of committing crimes against humanity and has completely broken off its diplomatic ties with Israel. Now, for this, Israel has criticized Bolivia's decision to cut ties over the war in the Gaza Strip. Israel has called Bolivia's decision as a surrender to terrorism and to Ayatollah Khomeini's regime in Iran. Now, Israel has said that by taking this step, the Bolivian government is aligning itself with Hamas, but the Bolivians are pretty clear that what they're doing is because of Israel's action that they've dubbed as a clear crime against humanity, where they see the Israelis targeting Palestinian civilians. Bolivia, remember, announced that it is cutting off diplomatic ties with Israel, accusing Israel of committing crimes against humanity. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.